Holy shitballs. That was an excellent movie. That, again, it gets to the point. Like, that's crazy. Now, I knew going into this that there were 4 movies. There was Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and then I know technically, they did sort of take the Harry Potter route where it's like, the last book is split into 2 movies. So there's 4 movies. But man, just watching this movie after only watching one other Hunger Games movie, man, I love that they just get right to the point on this. Like, all right, boom, revolution, here we go. That is awesome. I definitely took way more notes than I did for the last movie. Although I think I took a decent amount of notes last time. But yeah, this is a ton. This is almost like a full page worth of notes, So man, this definitely, like, I do like how, this definitely takes the Hunger Games and really explores the world and the concept and everything. Like, there's great world building in this, and I like that it's not just the same thing over again. And if I could, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a little difficult to say, I don't know, but again, when you kind of compare this to, like, okay, the other big, book to movie franchise would be Harry Potter. And Harry Potter, well, now granted, I haven't watched those movies in like 5 years, and I read like the first 2 books and gave up after that. But one thing with Harry Potter is that, yeah, it does really stretch out the story, at least the story concerning like Voldemort, where, you're supposed to just be there for the journey through, going through school at Hogwarts. But then it's like, when you take 8 movies before you can actually defeat Voldemort, it's like, good lord, this takes forever. This, on the other hand, 2 weeks ago, I watched the first Hunger Games movie. Now I'm watching the second movie in the series. We are already, like, to the end game. We're already to, like, the big thing. Like, okay, we're already to the final battle. Yes, we have 2 more movies. Technically, I'm only halfway done through the movies. But still, like, we started, like this is it. We're kind of in the end game now, and it's like, you know what? That's pretty cool. I really do like that we're already just there, and because we kind of speculated last time, where I was like, okay, well, there's got to be some reason that, like, they have to go through the Hunger Games again, like, and I was speculating, like, okay, do we, like, is it a rule like, oh, well, you can still be chosen for the next games or not? And it turns out not, but they did come up with the Quarter Quell, which was interesting. And so that's how we get our characters into the Hunger Games again. Sorry, I keep messing with my nose. My nose was I had a bloody nose this morning. It's been bothering me ever since. So, sorry. Anywho, not the point. Point is, Hunger Games. I don't want to say I was more invested in this movie than I was with the last movie, but there's a part of me that kind of wants to say that. Now, maybe that's because, we've already established all the characters, and I'm with all of them, so I'm kind of more down for it now, where, last time, I had to be introduced to everyone, I had to, build up the proper investment, everyone, which sort of just came down to being invested in Katniss and kind of no one else other than maybe Rue. I really wasn't that invested in Peeta last time. I was way more invested in Peeta this time. Even Gale I was slightly invested in, which, hey, at least Gale got some more lines in this movie, but overall, like, he still hasn't, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not totally invested. I'm like, oh yeah, Katniss's friend Gale. That's kind of what I'm at right now. But still, there's definitely, like, room to make me care. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I guess it's that I'm definitely, like, more into this world now. You know, now that I know it, and now we can move on and do other things with it. I guess that's sort of where I'm at with this. So, yeah. I mean, even down to, like, Effie. Like, I loved Effie in this movie, you know? Like last movie, you know, it's like, okay, you know, you kind of, after a little while, you know, you do like Haymitch, you know, once he is actually, you know, concerned about them and stuff, or you like Cinna, you know, because, you know, he's kind of a good guy too. Effie I didn't really care about last movie. This time around I do, you know? I care about her. I cared about pretty much every tribute, you know? All the tributes I really cared for, other than, you know, the ones that we're kind of not supposed to care about, like, you know, the careers. But this time around, like, I cared about most of them. Like, I liked Finnick. I like, you know, Joanna and Mags and everyone. So yeah, like, I don't know. This one, like, I might like this movie more than the original movie, but I think that's just because this movie took the first movie, which I would say is a very solid movie, but it took this movie and then just made improvements. So I guess that's the thing. It's like, the first movie was a great movie. This movie is better, therefore I like it better, I guess is how I can put it. Like, I'm so friggin' pumped. Like, I want to go in and watch the next movie right now, you know? Like, I just want to, like, get straight to it, you know? That's, like, I'm that invested in this world now, you know? So, oh my gosh, that is really just amazing. I friggin' love this movie, so yeah. We can go ahead and get into the notes. We got a lot of notes to go through. Let me count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 notes. This is like some Game of Thrones note-taking I did here. You know, like, this is a lot. But, hey, to be fair, this was a 2.5-hour movie, which I didn't really feel that much. You know, other than, like, I did pause about halfway through, like, to go to the bathroom and stuff, so there's that. But overall, like, I really didn't feel the length of this movie, you know? So that's really good. This is still going to be a bit of a nightmare to edit, though. It was hard enough editing the last movie, and this is, like, 10 minutes longer, you know? So I don't know how on earth I edited this, but you will have already seen because you're watching the finished product. Unless you're watching the full length, in which you're not seeing how well I edited this, assuming I edited this very well, which, you know, not to brag, but anyway. Notes. We got notes to do. First up on the notes is PTSD. Now, this didn't really, like, play a ton into, well, okay, yeah, it did. That's not really fair to say, but this didn't play as much as, or maybe not the way I thought this would. So, interesting thing, I like the beginning of this movie where it's like, okay, this is, you know, some time has passed since the first movie, but not to a full year rotation to where we're back to the next Hunger Games already. I like that it's like maybe 6, maybe 8 months have passed since the last Hunger Games. So that was really interesting. I like that. And I like, you know, just like, hey, you know, it's snowy. First of all, it's snowy, which was nice. I like snow, so that was cool to see. But yeah, so Katniss definitely having some PTSD, you know, when she tried to shoot the turkey, and then she saw herself killing the guy that killed Rue. Like, that is some PTSD. And I like that. Obviously, I don't like that Katniss has PTSD. That sucks, but, you know what I mean. That, yes, this is obviously affecting her. And it's interesting to think, like, you know, when you look at, like, Haymitch, like, you know, you could honestly sit there and, like you could watch this movie and be like, okay, this is everything that, this is kind of everything that Haymitch had to go through, you know, when he won, you know? Which is the crazy thing, is that, yeah, the man did win. You know, you almost sort of forget about it, but yeah, the man did win, which means he had to go through a lot of this shit, you know? So that was pretty interesting. We had, Defiance. Oh my gosh, that talk with President Snow at the beginning, that was damn intimidating, you know? Like, we didn't get a whole lot of him we didn't get a whole lot of him in the last movie, but this time we definitely did. And just the beginning where, he's talking to her, and, and it just immediately it's like, let's not lie to each other. Let's tell it how it is. So I did really like that. And I also like that he brings up, you don't want District 12 to be like District 13. And Katniss is like, there was a District 13? Oh, God. That is an immediate, big threat. Yeah, there was a District 13. Emphasis on was. So, goodness, that was terrifying. We had the Victory Tour. Now, okay, at first I thought that the Victory Tour was going to make up the entire movie. But no, it didn't. It was just sort of towards the beginning. I mean, I don't even know. I can't really see. So, for some reason on the movie, I'm watching this on Amazon. I rented it from Amazon. For some reason, when I scroll through, when I glide through the timeline on the movie, it's not showing me any preview, so that's kind of unfortunate. So I can't see where any of the scenes are. So, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, the Victory Tour I kind of thought was just going to be the whole movie. Okay, so we had the Hunger Games, now we're going to do the Victory Tour. Not true, in fact. Because I was kind of thinking, okay, this movie, are we just going to go through another Hunger Games with, Katniss and probably Peeta? And I was like, okay, well, that would be interesting, but that would kind of be the same thing at that point. But I like that this time around, everything is different. They change up the Hunger Games, the actual games enough to where it's okay, yes, I need to be watching this, definitely. So, that's at least good. But yeah, so we had the Victory Tour. We also had, starting off the Victory Tour with District 11. That was sad. That was just sad having to do that. And it's also interesting, they both sort of did their own thing, they didn't look at they didn't read the cue cards that time. Peeta was like, oh, well, we're going to be, donating a month's worth of winnings to Rue's family for the rest of, our lives. That's pretty big. I like to even say, can he do that? And Haymitch is like, he can't, but he did. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool of Peeta. I gotta say, Peeta, I got more invested in him this time around, definitely. Last time I was maybe I was a little too hard on Peeta last time because of the, just the Hunger Games in general and the fact that, okay, because, and I guess we can sort of briefly talk about this. So in the last movie, I didn't think that Peeta was genuine with his feelings for Katniss. And some of you guys have told me, actually, yes, he is genuine about that. He is trying to sell the story, so that he can survive, so they can survive, but he was genuine about that. Which is interesting. It kind of does make you sort of step back and reevaluate Peeta. And I did, actually, before I started this movie. I was like, okay, so let me step back, let me look at Peeta, let me, remember his character. Okay, now I gotta remember that he was sincere in some of this stuff. And it's like, okay, I can see that more. It's not, because if you don't look at it like that, then yeah, it does sort of look like, okay, well, he's just making up the biggest lie in the history of forever, so that he and potentially Katniss can survive, And, he makes up this story and Katniss is forced to use it, Because that's the thing. It's it just seems like, okay, he's doing this to, he's just doing this to survive, to get the sponsors and everything. And now Katniss is forced to do this, and now the two of them have to do this forever. But if you look at it as, no, he was still genuine about that. Even if, yes, this does help get sponsors and everything, this is genuine. Then it sort of takes a different light. Okay, well, it is genuine, but at the same time, you're kind of you're still forcing Katniss into this sort of relationship for the cameras, but still, oh God, I don't know. So, but I definitely got way more invested in Peeta this time. And when they say, I think Katniss says or no, it's Haymitch that's there's nothing you could do to deserve that boy. It's I guess they're trying to make him out to be, the good boy, which, I've seen a lot of good boy characters. Captain America, Jonathan Joestar. I don't know if I would necessarily say that Peeta is a good boy character, but he has his good boy moments, I will say. So I do like that. I got way more invested in Peeta this time around, so that's good. And then okay, so Jesus Christ, when they were in District 11, and the one guy, because a bunch of them put up the three fingers, but he was the only one that whistled. He was the only one that did the whistle, and because of that, he was shot through the head. Like, what the fuck? Like, because the thing is, like, with Gale, kind of jumping ahead with Gale, when he's like, when he tackles Thread, and then he gets flogged for it, like, that's already pretty extreme, but that's after the victory tour. This is just an immediate boom, this old man is dead. Like, Jesus Christ. So, oh man, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy, I have to say. And then, oh my gosh. And it is a pretty powerful, scene when, Katniss is like, just help us get through this trip. And Haymitch says, like, get through this trip. This doesn't end. Take it from him. This does not end when you get home. You have to continue this forever. The two of you are now mentors, The two of you now are mentors, just like him. And you can never escape it, which means they have to keep the story up for the rest of their lives, which is just so terrifying, Okay, we got the Game Maker. What is it, Plutarch? These fucking names, man, they're crazy. He was interesting. I did like him. He was a nice change from Seneca from the last movie. And he's interesting just from the start, where he's like, where he's talking about everything, and it's like, oh, this place, this party and stuff, it's appalling, and so like everything there was kind of interesting, and then it was interesting, he kind of served as a secondary antagonist to the president, and it's interesting that he was making the ideas, not the president. Like, I figured with everything, like, especially just going from last movie where, the president, Snow, was talking to Seneca about this stuff, like, oh, you lit a fire, now you need to contain it, and all those speeches like he had. And then this movie, when it starts off with him talking to Katniss and being intimidating, but he's relying on Plutarch to make the ideas. Like, that was kind of weird, I have to say. And weird, but it was interesting. I still liked it. So, and that's the thing. It basically, played right into Plutarch's hand, where it's like, okay, I'm in charge of this. I'm in charge of destroying Katniss Everdeen, so I'm going to not do that. She's going to basically rebuild herself, and then we're going to get her out of the Hunger Games, and we're going to get her out of the Hunger Games, and revolution. Congratulations. Yeah. So, that was pretty interesting. I had a good twist on him. Like, I would not have seen that coming, but I like that. And then, I did like, even though this didn't really, like, play out, but the whole thing of, well, we need to destroy her image, show that she's one of us, really is dropped right after it's said. Like, they really don't talk about that ever again, Like, there's no point where that really comes into play. It's just a plan that he said, and then it didn't happen. So, meh. Let's see. Destroy. Okay, I just talked about that. Run away. Man, so, yeah. So, Katniss talked about running away from everything, but you can't do that. You started a revolution, and now you have to go through with it. I do like, now I'm pretty sure, because, when Gale was talking about, like, oh, no, we gotta stay and we gotta fight, and he's like, okay, I guess he's in on the revolution, too. I'm pretty sure Peeta also was, like, he had some line, but I couldn't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure, like, both of them were in on the revolution, and Katniss was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. So, that was interesting. That was really interesting. Excuse me. That was really interesting, with everything, like, we should run away, which, again, that's what Gale said at the beginning of the last movie, He was like, oh, we should just run away, and then it's like, oh, well, we gotta bring the families and stuff, and it's like, And then here, Katniss is like, we should run away, and Gale's like, no, we gotta fight. And then he gets, whipped, and, every shit goes down, and then he's like, yeah, we should have ran away, damn it. So, yeah, that, but I mean, it's good that they stayed, because now they're going to, start a revolution against the Capitol. So that's pretty good. Okay, so we got another guy, Thread, who I also thought was going to be a secondary antagonist, but he didn't turn out to be that when we left District 12 again. This guy was intense, I have to say. Which makes sense. He was kind of, I don't want to say like cartoonishly, but I mean, he was like super like over the top intense. And man, the public floggings were just nuts. Floggings and executions, like, because it's a way to, quell rebellion, basically. And man, poor Gale had to just take that. That was insane. And they did cut out right before this guy just, decked Katniss, And this guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing, because he's like, oh, whatever, and it's like, and then all 3 victors from District 12 are right there, and he's like, oh, well, next time it's the firing squad. I don't care who you are. It's like, you sure about that? Because the 3 of them will become martyrs if you kill them, Oy. So yeah. So yeah, and I guess I wrote that down too. Kill the victors. Like, that's not how that works, man. Thread. These freaking names, man. So yeah, like, he was just all in for that. And it's like, and I guess, like, here's the thing. If they died, then that would give President Snow what he wants. He wants Katniss to be dead. But at the same time, that would, I feel like, cause the revolution. Like, everyone would get up in support of Katniss, Like, I'm pretty sure she would become a martyr at that point. Which is also what we had last movie, So, okay, I wrote down the quarter quell. Okay, as soon as they started talking about that, the quarter quell. It is in the law that once every 25, even though it's not in the law, but once every 25 years, it's like, as soon as he started talking about that, I was like, they're going to bring back all the fucking victors, aren't they? Sure enough, they did. They brought back all the fucking victors. No more 12-year-olds and douchey teenagers. These are the victors from previous years, which is crazy. 24 victors from presumably 23 years. Now, interesting thing. So in Phoenix District, we had Mags who actually volunteered for Annie. Now, did they say that... so I would assume then that she won. She won one of the Hunger Games, because you can't volunteer unless, this time around you couldn't volunteer unless you were a victor, which is the thing is, Peeta was able to volunteer for Haymitch, So, oh man. Which there's a part of me that kind of wanted to see Haymitch in action, but it probably wouldn't have worked out. And there goes the clock, because my door is open and you can hear that now. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm starving and I would like to eat lunch. But we are not going to eat lunch until we finish this discussion, because that is important. So yeah, as soon as they announced the quarter quell, I was like, they're going to bring back the fucking victors, and sure enough, they did. So, and that's the thing, is from District 12, yeah, there's only 3 people that have ever won. 2 of them were in 1 year, Because that's the thing, is they said, which was also the one of the more interesting things last movie, when they say, it's like, oh yeah, they're talking about all the careers and stuff, and it's like, oh, these guys are, killers, they're basically like trained assassins, basically. But Haymitch did win. Haymitch did win the Hunger Games once, so he was able to beat them. So it kind of makes you think, like, man, this guy's gonna be fucking good if he was able to do that, And he did it on his own. He didn't have someone else like Katniss and Peeta did, He did it all on his own, and he won. So I did like that. That was pretty cool. And that's the other thing, too. When they go on the victory tour, and stuff, and they have to give a speech about everything. They have to give a speech to all the districts and talk about. They have to talk about the people that died and stuff like that. I honestly cannot imagine Haymitch doing that. It's like that's got to be, but he had to. He had to because he did win. So. And I do like that, they both kind of made deals with Haymitch there. That Katniss made a deal where, pretty much at all costs, Haymitch will make sure that Peeta survives. Whereas Peeta made his own deals with Haymitch. I guess that was just to protect Katniss as well. I think, or was it... I don't remember. I don't fully remember. They had a scene about it, and I don't remember. And it'd be hard for me to go back, so I'm not gonna go look. But there was something, and it was big, and it was important. I just can't friggin' think of it off the top of my head. So I'll remember it when I edit the movie. Oh my gosh! I just realized I was dehydrated. Jeez, I've been talking for so long, and I hadn't taken a drink. So. Man, oh man, we're almost at 3 hours on this recording. Isn't that friggin' crazy? Oh, I don't think I've ever had a recording go this long. So, this is nuts. Anyway. We did meet all the victors. They were really hyping up Finnick. But, he was a good guy in the end. Like, he wasn't a douchebag. Like, I like, honestly, none of them, other than, like, the careers, but even they were just the careers. Like, that's just what they do. Everyone was pretty solid in this one, so I like that. So I did like meeting all of them. I thought that was really cool. And then we had the allies, which was pretty interesting. Because that's the thing with the last movie, where they did have alliances, there was the alliance of douchebags, as I called them last movie. So that was pretty interesting that we kind of got that here, I did like that. It made for an interesting beginning too. And then we had the training and stuff, which was interesting, and I like that they all kind of wanted to be allies with Katniss because they saw her shoot. She's really freaking good with a bow, so I like that. Then we had the interview, which was pretty cool. I did like, every person there was like, I don't want to be here. I do not want to be in the Hunger Games again. Please get this, we gotta not do this. So I like that. Whereas, last movie, the whole thing about the interview was like, sell the romance, sell, sell yourself. Be sure everything works out. Whereas this movie, every single one of those tributes was like, this is bullshit that we're back here, So I did like that. I did really like that. And then Katniss, I love that. I love the dress. That was brilliant by Cinna. Where, it was the wedding dress, and then she spins, and it burns into a Mockingjay. Oh, that was awesome. I really did love that. And then Peeta... Man, Peeta... Every time there's an interview, Peeta says something, like he drops a huge bomb on everyone, basically. Like last time it was, just the romance with Katniss. This time around, drops baby. That is so crazy. Which at first it's like, oh man, don't you do it, but it makes sense because he's trying, he's not saying that to say it, he's trying to say that, and he's not even trying to say that just to sell himself or sell him and Katniss to the sponsors and everything. He's saying that because everyone is trying to get these friggin' games canceled. And that could be the best way. It's like, not only could Katniss die, her baby could die here. Like, that is insane. Because we already had that, the whole thing with, the marriage, which was also pretty crazy. And, the turnaround in this movie where at the beginning... It was more of Katniss, being like, oh, no, we're not selling anything. This isn't happening, to her being the one to suggest, why don't we just get married, Like, she's just kind of resigned herself to this life, And then, Peeta takes it a step further by announcing a baby. Like, oh, my gosh, that is so crazy. But it worked. It kind of worked. What the... What are you doing? Wait. The dog woke up. What are you doing? Go back to sleep. I'm not done. I know, boy. It's been 3 hours. It's been 3 hours since I started this recording. Don't go. I'll be done soon. Kinda. I mean, after this, we kind of were talking about the actual games themselves. He might want to go out. I'll go see if he wants out. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. We're back. The dog is outside, probably going to chill out. Yeah, it's been 3 hours. I started this at 10 o'clock in the morning. I honestly did not expect this to go too long. I don't know why. It's a 2.5 hour movie. So, okay, so let's keep going. So yeah, the baby was brilliant. The idea of the baby was brilliant because, yeah, it did get a lot of people who were like, cancel the games and everything, you know? And I like that, you know, all the tributes, you know, were, you know, raising their hands together, which was pretty cool. So it didn't work, but it was like a last-ditch effort, basically. But it did sway the people, and so we'll see, you know, how much this plays into next movie, you know, when we start the revolution. I am assuming that, you know, the next movie gets voted for on Patreon. I get the feeling it will, though, so, yeah. Cinna, yeah, I knew after that stunt with the dress that Cinna would be... He might have been executed, honestly, but he at least got the shit kicked out of him. So, who knows? Who knows if he'll still be alive next movie. We'll have to see. I wrote down the beginning of the games, which was pretty crazy. Katniss going for the center, which, you know, she did not do last time, and, you know, you're not supposed to do, but this time she did go for the center, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, and then that whole just fight there, and... Oh, God. Excuse me. And, you know, getting Finnick as an ally there was pretty cool. I did like that, and then saving Peeta. Okay, this is one thing, though. We had to save Peeta a few too many times for my liking. Like, we had to save him... Like, we had to save him from, you know, at the beginning, you know, when he's fighting the dude underwater. Granted, he kind of saved himself, but still. And then we had to save him after, you know, he got shocked by the force field, which was crazy. You know, it's like... I don't know. It kind of felt weird. Like, we had to save him, like, a few too many times right at the beginning of the games, too. So, I don't know. Let's see. We had the fog. That shit was crazy. Like, and that's the thing, is that this, honestly, like, I like how they made things different for the games this time around. Where last time it was just, you know, the games. But this time around, it was... This time around, it was more... Like, we barely fought the other tributes. Like, there was some, but not a whole lot, you know? Not a whole lot. And it was honestly just sort of fighting against the arena, you know? So, so I like that. I like that, that it was more fighting against the arena than fighting against the other tributes. And even then, the other tributes were, you know... all the victors and stuff. So all that was interesting. And I like how they figured out that it was a clock. that the entire place, rotated on a clock, and it like, pretty much on the hour there was a new threat. Monkeys, boiling blood, all that stuff. So that was pretty crazy. I did like that. We got the Jabberjays, which were interesting. Just a bunch of, which I guess that was one of the threats, was Jabberjays, but it wasn't just Jabberjays. It was Jabberjays that spoke with the voices of people, of the people that the tributes care about. So you heard Annie, you heard Prim, you heard Gale. Like that was just like an extra layer of fucking with them, basically. So that was pretty crazy. We had The Wire, which was a really interesting idea. I love how different like a lot of these tributes were. Like they weren't all just the normal like, oh, these are just the warriors. There were some of them like Beatty. Yeah, I think Beatty, and the other girl who were like who were geniuses. That's how they won. They didn't fight, but they killed through their own brilliance, So I like that, it's like, okay, so that tree always gets struck by lightning at midnight. Well, we can wrap it around in coil, drag that coil back to the beach, and then kill the careers there. So that was all pretty interesting. I did like that. Again, like I said, it's like Back to the Future times a million. Like, it's crazy. Even though that plan didn't exactly go how they said. But again, still pretty cool. And then, there was a tad bit of discourse when they split up Katniss and Peeta. But it all worked out. Like, I was kind of worried, like, oh man, I don't really want to turn on these guys, Beatty, Finnick, and Joanna. They were all really cool, So I didn't want to turn on them, but we ended up not. And at first, when and the dog wants back in. Okay, 1 sec. You just lie down and relax. Good boy. I'll be done in a minute. All right, so as I was saying, at first I was kind of worried, when Joanna ended up cutting Katniss, I was like, oh shit, are we gonna have a betrayal here? But no, she cut out Katniss's tracker, which is interesting. Like, and at first, then I was like, okay, she cut her, but, sort of to make her look dead. But that wasn't it. It was just to cut out the tracker, which was pretty cool. So I did like that. And then we also got shooting the sky itself, by taking the coil, putting it on an arrow, and basically shooting that lightning back and destroying the entire arena. That was awesome. That was a good way of doing it. It wasn't just, okay, we're going to kill all the tributes again, and then Katniss will win, and then whatever. And it's like, nope. The games, they're just done. We are not doing the games anymore. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be the last of the Hunger Games themselves, Now we're on to Revolution. So that was really, really cool. That was really, really cool having her shoot the sky with the lightning. Like, that was badass. So, and then, the last thing I wrote down was Revolution. We learned from Plutarch that, he's actually in on the Revolution, and the whole goal was to get Katniss out of there because she is the Mockingjay, which is awesome. So, that was really, really, really great. But now, even though, yes, we have the Revolution, we're off to District 13, where we're going to regroup, and Gale's here and all that stuff. Peeta is not there because Peeta has been captured and taken to the capital. which is really unfortunate. So I'm very curious to see where we're going next movie. That's the thing, is that these two movies, like, they do sort of have the same, like, basic plot of Katniss and Peeta do things until the Hunger Games happen. But now, like, that is the most basic plot of this. But the thing is, they do so many different things in these two movies. Now, we're kind of abandoning that structure altogether for the next two movies, which are just going to be Revolution. So I'm very curious to see how we're going to be doing that, and hopefully we will be watching. I'm almost positive we will be watching the next movie. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Again, I really love this movie. I am so invested in it, way more than I was for the last movie, and I was really invested in the last movie too. That's the thing. It's just that now I'm ultra invested. Now that I know all the characters in the world, and now we've built on it, now I'm ready. I'm in. I'm fully in. Love this. Had a great time. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Yeah, we'll see if we move on to the next movie, but I have a hunch that we will move on to the next movie. So yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my movie reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.